Welcome to FinStecks from Laura and Anthony. We have a really critical alert today, something that's just surfaced specifically for Apple Mac users. It's about passwords, and it's something you absolutely need to have on your radar. We often hear about potential threats targeting Windows systems, right? But this is a stark reminder that if you're an Apple user, you are definitely not immune.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And especially when you think about the bigger picture in cybersecurity right now. I mean, we've seen these staggering reports,
Yeah.
something like 19 billion stolen passwords
Yeah.
exposed publicly, just massive numbers. You add that to the ongoing FBI warnings about, malicious links everywhere, and suddenly an alert that specifically flags a risk for Apple Mac owners. That becomes incredibly significant for you listening.
Yeah.
Very timely.
Exactly. And the heart of this warning, it's actually pretty simple, but absolutely vital. There's a specific kind of update doing the rounds right now that you should not, under any circumstances, install on your Mac because it could make your Apple passwords really, really vulnerable to theft.
hmm It really tackles that common assumption, doesn't it? That macOS is somehow just inherently safer from cyber attacks. And sure, maybe historically Windows saw more attacks, often just because of, well, market share, right? More targets. But that doesn't mean Macs are impenetrable. Not at all.
Hmm.
Especially now with how threats evolve. And honestly, one of the biggest weaknesses always is human error. Doesn't matter what OS you're running.
And we're actually seeing data that backs this up, that Apple users are becoming a bigger target. There was a reported 101% jump, get this 101% increase in data theft aimed at Apple users just back in February. That's huge. It really shines a light on the fact that, yeah, Mac users are an increasingly attractive target for these guys. It's not niche anymore.
Precisely. And this isn't just guesswork. We're seeing information coming out from cybersecurity researchers, specifically Moonlock, which is part of MacPaw. They directly confirm this growing danger. Their findings really hammer home how serious these password stealing threats designed for macOS have become.
Okay, so what's the specific threat they found?
Well, their report points to a macOS malware campaign, and it's sneaky. It's disguised as a legitimate update notification for a Realtek driver, of all things.
Well, Realtek driver, okay.
Yeah, and what's particularly concerning, according to their lead macOS security researcher, Mikhailo Hrebeniuk, is who they think is behind it. They suspect North Korean hackers.
Wow, okay. So state-sponsored, possibly. And what does this malware actually do?
Hrebeniuk calls it an info stealer, which, I mean, the name says it all, right? Its job is to secretly gather sensitive information. In this case, it's built specifically to grab your Mac login credentials, the data stored in Apple passwords, and even your browser cookies.
Browser cookies, people might think those aren't a big deal.
Well, they can be. Think of them like little digital keys. They can potentially give attackers access to your online accounts without needing the password again. It bypasses that step sometimes.
Okay, that makes sense. And the researchers, they've mapped out how this attack works.
Yes, they have. They've broken it down into a pretty clear five-step process. It gives you a good picture. It all starts with the initial infection, and that relies heavily on social engineering. Basically, tricking you.
Tricking you into downloading that fake Realtek driver update we mentioned.
Exactly. Step one. Then, the malware sets up persistence. Think of it like digging in. It uses something called launch agents to make sure it runs again. Even if you restart your Mac, it wants to stick around.
Right, so it's not just a one-off hit.
No. Then step three, it deploys a fake app. This looks legit, maybe like some system tool.
Well,
But its real purpose is to fish for your Apple passwords, to get you to type them involuntarily.
the classic fake login prompt.
Pretty much.
Right.
And it doesn't stop there. It's kind of a multi-stage thing. After potentially getting your password, the attackers then use a second stage loader. This is what actually unleashes the main payload.
The info stealer itself.
Correct. And finally, step five, they establish what's called a persistent command and control loop. It's like opening a secret back channel to your Mac. The hackers can then continuously tell it to steal stuff, Chrome cookies, more login data, and those super sensitive keychain credentials.
The track, yeah, that's where everything important is stored. Wow.
And the sheer scale of this type of attack is just
Oh.
what's alarming. Moonlock Lab reported a 340% increase.
240%.
Yes, a 340% increase in info stealers specifically targeting Apple passwords via these macOS campaigns. That's a massive jump. It shows how much effort is going into this.
And what's also interesting, or maybe unsettling, is that this specific campaign isn't entirely new.
That's right. It was actually spotted before, back in April. They had a different name than Contagious Interview.
Huh?
Back then, it used a fake job offer as the bait.
Okay, so they just switched the disguise.
Exactly. The fact that it's now morphed into this fake Realtek driver update just shows how adaptable these attackers are. They don't always need brand new malware. They just recycle and tweak the old stuff, give it a new paint job to try and slip past defenses.
That adaptability is, well, it's a crucial point for you listening to grasp, isn't it?
Absolutely. They don't need to reinvent the wheel every time. Refining and redeploying existing tools with a new lure is often more efficient for them. And it just highlights why we need to be constantly vigilant.
So, boiling it all down, the really critical takeaway for you right now is be incredibly careful, especially about installing any unexpected or unverified updates on your Apple Mac, particularly if they relate to system stuff like drivers. If you weren't actively looking for that update and it just pops up, big red flag.
Absolutely. Huge red flag. This whole situation really underscores the importance of just pausing, thinking critically whenever you see any software update prompt.
Yeah.
Always, always try to verify the source. Is it really from Apple? Is it really from Realtek through official channels? If there's any doubt, just don't click install. It's better to be cautious.
Yeah, staying informed about threats like this is probably one of the best defenses you have. Just being mindful,
Yeah.
what you download, what you click on, what software you allow onto your machine. It can save so much trouble later.
hmm And maybe this is a good moment for you to just reflect on your own habits.
Yeah.
When that update box pops up on your Mac, do you just click install now without thinking? Or do you actually take a second, considering where it's coming from, especially after hearing this? That self-check is key for staying secure.
Some good points to consider. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.